say yes. I need you to do more and say less. I won't just say yes. Need you to do more and say less. I thought you knew that anybody can do that.
You better say it. Rula Jebreal is here. We're going to go to the phones. Charles Coleman Jr. is here as well. Let's go to Crystal in Pennsylvania. You're on the Karen Hunter Show. Welcome.
Thank you, Karen. First of all, I want to thank you for having her on your show. And I spoke to you before about my plight when it was the Newark riots and how I felt about that. But I want to thank this woman. I came in the middle of her conversation for articulating the plight of the Palestinian people so well. I hear people saying, well, if we don't vote for Biden, we'll get Trump. But right now, what I'm feeling is anger, sadness. I feel sadness. I feel sad because this is happening, that we think it's okay, not we, but people think it's okay to starve other human beings, to starve children. And I, as a Black woman who have been in this situation myself before, as a little girl who hid when they came and shot up my mother's apartment, I understand what those children are going through. I feel what they're going through. And I'm telling you, I cannot, in good conscience, ever vote for Biden in what he's doing. Biden comes out with this speech.
Okay, listen, Crystal. Last time you called, we got that, right? Putting a fine point on it doesn't free the rest of us, who will have to be here under another Trump administration.
Yes.
So while that's your personal choice, I'm not going to excoriate you for that. The reality is what Rula is talking about. The binary choice that we have, you feeling that way, if the rest of us felt that way, we're getting another Trump administration, and he's been very clear about what he's going to do. And he may not leave office until he closes his eyes, because that's on the table too. So, I've heard this. Rula, go ahead. Yes.
Can I tell her, I understand your pain and I understand your anger, and I see these images because I am in contact with people who work in Rafah and in Gaza and in Egypt, and I see these images. This morning, I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I saw the images of the body of a baby who was born in this war. And his body, the doctors that sent me the video told me that his body started to consume itself. It's the worst, it's the most painful death you can see in a child. I understand. I think we need to go again and again to this administration so we can try to wake them up, to make them understand that it's about mercy at this point, but also it's about mercy for all of us, because we cannot endure another Trump administration. We cannot survive another Trump administration. I would like you to use your voice. I'd like you to use whatever medium you can to pressure the administration. So at least we fight till the end with tooth and nail and with our voices, with our words, with anything. So if we will ever reach November 4th, at least we can say we did everything we can to save democracy in the United States as well. We did everything we can to save those children as well. Please don't give up. I beg you not to give up, because we need you. Those kids need you, but also American kids need you, because what's happening in Gaza will come back here to haunt all of us. And yes, that's why we need your voice. We need this administration to listen to you. We need your politician at the congressional level, at the local level, at the state level, at every level to listen to you. They work for you. They are there to serve you. So your voice matters.
Thank you for that level of compassion that I apparently did not have in a moment, because I'm every day here confronted with what we are definitely going to live through. And, many of us who are even listening might survive it, but the most vulnerable of us will not. And
I think you and I and Charles will be put in camps the day after. Just to be clear, I don't think we will be surviving this. No one will survive a second term of Donald Trump. When he said that he will put protesters, pro-Palestinian protesters, in camps and deport them, whatever, three of us are on in that list, whether we like it or not. Any criticism, because they will start equating any criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism, with lack of patriotism, and we're all on that blacklist the next day.
Whitelist. We're going to change the language. Charles, I'm sorry.
No, Rula, I wanted to ask you, a lot of times I think people are interested in the understanding of these concepts and how they work. And that's why they come to platforms like the Karen Hunter Show, so that they can be broken down, discussed, and digested in a way that's easy to understand. But then people are also sort of left wanting actionable steps.
Yes.
And so my question to you is, what does a policy agenda look like that can be actually asked for and advocated? Obviously, in the most immediate sense, there is the issue around support of a ceasefire, right?
Yes.
Like that's obviously first and foremost.
Permanent ceasefire, permanent, not 6
yeah,
weeks,
correct.
not 6 days, not 3 weeks,
right?
Not what Kamala Harris called for, like, give us the hostage, we'll give you 3 weeks and we'll give you some food.
Right.
No.
A permanent ceasefire, right? But beyond that, when you're talking about whether it's the support of a two-state solution, whether it's figuring out how do we return the people who have been displaced now out of Gaza to basically ruin or whatever does not, whatever no longer exists of their former lives.
Yes.
What does that look like from an advocacy place, such that people who are listening, who are really wanting to ask for and demand what the appropriate level of moral turpitude for today's time should call for, what does that look like both in the immediate sense and in the long term?
Well, let's start with the bare minimum: a ceasefire, immediate ceasefire, permanent immediate ceasefire, immediate, opening all the crossings to let the hundreds of trucks outside of Gaza, in the borders with Egypt and in Israel. There's hundreds of trucks that are being blocked by Israel. So let them enter, stop the starvation and the use of starvation as a weapon of war. This is second. Third, I ask what my Israeli colleagues in human rights organizations such as B'Tselem and Breaking the Silence asking, an international force, exactly like the UNIFIL peace mission in Lebanon, between Lebanon and Israel, to protect Palestinians in Gaza and assure that there's never going to be another attack. An independent international force led also by Arab nations who are willing to invest in the reconstruction, rehabilitation of Gaza, but also in taking over and not only protect Palestinians and end of the starvation, but also maybe building a national project for Palestinians that can give us a political horizon. At this point, Charles, it's about survival for Palestinians. They're not even thinking about one state or two state. It's about saving them from extermination. Mm-hmm. It's about saving millions of people from being exterminated. It's about some modicum measure of protection for women and children. We know now that we have thousands, maybe tens of thousands that are under the rubble. We don't consider them dead because my friends in Gaza tell me that they hear their screams. They're still alive. Children, there was a baby the other day that was pulled out of the rubble. After 9 days, he was under. By miracle, he was pulled out. He told us on video that he saw his mother, his 2 sisters, and his brother crushed. He had to stay near those corpses for 9 days. We have thousands of those cases. We need immediately to save people, not only from the bombs and from starvation, people that are screaming from under the rubble, begging for mercy. So at this point, I don't know. And I've been talking to people in Bosnia and Indian Americans to understand how can a nation survive a genocide. I don't know at this point what language we need to speak to this administration so they can understand that it is about saving what we can save. The world came together after Rwanda and said that there's a responsibility to protect civilians. That mechanism was triggered by Americans. The head of USAID wrote a book, Samantha Power, about genocide and to see the signals and how to intervene to save civilians. We are asking for mercy and we're asking to save civilians at this point. And then you can decide the second steps, what are they going to be? But in this moment, it's really about saving as many lives as possible and not killing, because not doing anything, that means all these hundreds of thousands of lives will be killed, will die. And it's not in a matter of weeks, it's a matter of days at this point.
Rula, the message of mercy, I think, who can argue with that? Who could fight that message, the message of mercy, to continue that? I just appreciate that, the framing of that, because it speaks to a different level that we're responsible for as human beings, to see no more harm come to any more life. There are people just like you and I, people who got up for breakfast, just like many of us did this morning. They had children, just like many of you have. They went to school, they went to work, just like many of you, under occupation, mind you. And now it's untenable. And the world is watching. And I don't want to fast forward 10, 20 years from now and everyone's going to be sorry. Oh, we can't believe this happened. Well, it's happening in real time and we can do something about it. And your message of mercy, I think, is one that we can all pick up and run with and put pressure on this administration to do something now, not just through November, but beyond, because it's our responsibility. It's our responsibility to not be silent. So I am so grateful to you, and I want to wish your family safety and you a semblance of peace. I don't know how you're managing, but I appreciate you always being available to come in.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Charles. Thank you.
Rula Jebreal, you can follow her. She's very vocal on the social media platforms under her name, RulaJebreal. Follow her and give her some support too.
I want you to say yes. I need you to do more and say less. I want you to say yes. Need you to do more and say less.